Excuse me, Catherine? Why are you crying? You're having a panic attack? Sounds like you're being a little bit dramatic. No more interruptions or I'm gonna have to give you a detention. All right, class, let's go back to reading Lolita. It is too beautiful of a day to waste after such a harsh winter, so why don't we put our phones down and let's just go for a walk around campus today for class. It's so good for our mental health just to take a pause sometime. Oh, you wanna be an artist when you grow up? Well, that's not really a real job. Why don't you try something a little more stable? Like marketing, that's creative. Class, welcome to the business of art. My name's Mr. Frenzel. I was a creative director for Kellogg and I also was a commissioned artist for brands like Nike and Facebook. I'll be teaching you how to make art your career. In the next 2 weeks, our Christmas break, I'm sure you won't have a lot going on, so it's the perfect time to catch up on some work. If you want to just finish chapters 10 through 13 in Algebra 2 and then read the entirety of Huckleberry Finn, we'll be going over that right when you get back. All right, class, and winter break is coming up. As long as you have your final paper into me, you're good to go. You've been a wonderful class. Enjoy your month and a half off. We have state testing today. Now remember, my salary is directly affected by your performance on these state tests, and I have 6 kids at home, and I did promise them a trip to Disney World this year. It would just be so horrible to see their disappointed faces if I wasn't able to do that. Anyway, no pressure. Anonymous professor evaluations are due at the end of the week. Please fill these out. It's very important to me to read your critiques and apply them to make my class the best it can be every year. Kenzie, I have to say, your paper was one of the best I've ever read in my 20 years of teaching. You could get into Harvard with a paper like that. However, I did ask for an 8-page paper and it was 7 3/4, so C-. And your paper on a nonprofit that inspires you is due at the end of next week. Please keep it under 2 pages. I really don't want to read more than that. Hey, Kaylee, why weren't you in class yesterday? You were feeling anxious and decided to stay home. Well, you have nothing you need to be nervous about. Honestly, Kaylee, that's kind of behavior is not going to fly in college. Technically have class scheduled the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I'm not going to be here, so I don't expect you to be here either. Olivia, why weren't you in class last week? You were getting a Nobel Peace Prize for your work on a cancer vaccine? Well, it's really nice that you have hobbies, Olivia, but your education really needs to come first. You missed a very important lesson on factoring polynomials. Want up to anything fun this weekend? Oh, your band's performing at the Basement East? That's awesome. All right, if you go to Devin's show this weekend, extra credit, y'all. We gotta support each other. Chloe, what are you looking at? The test answers aren't on the ceiling. Academic integrity, okay? Eyes on your paper. Hey, Catherine, thanks so much for coming to my office hours. So let's see. Looks like you got a 70 here on your exam. Let's go over the questions you missed, make sure you understand them, and then we'll make that an 85. So it's y equals mx plus... Kyle, excuse me? Oh, there's something in his throat and he needs some water? Okay, after this lesson, I guess you can go. Does anyone want some tea before we start the exam? I've got some chamomile here, but if we want any other flavors, I'm happy to brew them for you. Savory, what's wrong? A migraine? Well, I'm very sorry that you're having a headache, but it's very important that you make it through this lesson on the Pythagorean theorem, otherwise you'll be very behind. Why don't you get some water or something? I'm so sorry I had to cancel class last week. Hopefully you enjoyed the time off. I went to the Lady Gaga concert and I inhaled so much glitter I had the worst headache of my life for 2 days. I have to be honest, I'm very disappointed in your recent test scores. How do you plan to make it in the real world if you can't even memorize a couple hundred elements on the periodic table? Chase, I know some of your test scores haven't been the best, but I just didn't want you to be discouraged because I see how hard you're trying in class and your papers are really amazing and creative. You know, school can really only quantify so much. I really believe you have a bright future ahead of you. Just remember, on your papers, Wikipedia is not a source, Google is not a source. If it's not from our very confusing academic databases, it does not count as one of your sources. For your final paper, we're going to be taking different social media trends and looking at them through a sociological lens to see their real-world implications. Emily, why do we have a final exam? Because we're preparing you for college and it's gonna be a lot harder there. I don't do final exams. You will have a final project. You'll be in groups of 5 analyzing a local nonprofit and giving them strategies that we learned in class that you think would make their business better. You also have 2 months to do it. I'm sorry to hear that your mom's in the hospital, Allie, but you've already seen the test. If I let you leave now, it wouldn't be very fair to the other students. You're gonna have to tell your mom to hold on to life. Calculus waits for no one. I'm so sorry to hear about your goldfish dying. I know how hard it can be losing a pet. You really don't have to stay in class today. I'll post all my slides on Blackboard. Excuse me, Brian, there's no phones allowed in my classroom. You're buying Billie Eilish tickets? Well, I'm sure they'll still be there in 10 minutes when class is over. You can go buy them then. Yes, Tyler? Why is it called the hippocampus? That's a good question. I actually don't know that. Can somebody grab their phone and look that up for us? Class, I need everybody to settle down in your seats. We have a lot we need to get to today. And that is why they think they found trace amounts of dolphin in my 23andMe results. Oh my gosh, look at the time. I guess class is over. We never even got to the lesson. I'll see you all Friday. Molly, that's very exciting that your mom's going to the hospital to have your little sibling, but you really can't miss this lesson on protons and electrons. It's Friday. Can't she hold it till tomorrow? William, you look really tired. I'll be happy to give you an attendance credit today. If you want to go home and take a nap, it's totally okay. I understand. And who knows what happened to Catherine the Great? Nobody knows? Class, this is AP European History. You need a 4 or a 5 on the AP exam to get college credit. You need to be taking this class seriously. I'm so sorry I had to cancel class on Monday. My orchid died. They are such beautiful, temperamental creatures, and I just didn't feel like it was appropriate for me to teach that day. I just sat and pondered the circle of life. Kayla, you wrote that you want to be a photographer when you grow up. That's not really a career, that's more of a hobby. You're nice, why don't you aspire to something like nursing? Class, we have a guest speaker today. I'm so excited. She shot for Vogue and photographed stars like Olivia Rodrigo and Lady Gaga. She's gonna talk to you today about making your passion your career. And Zach, you wrote here that the Revolutionary War was not bussin', and that Abraham Lincoln was the best, no cap? I had to give you a C. Let's keep our language professional, okay? Kara, your essay on how emojis are becoming the world's first global language was really incredible. There's this essay contest. The prize is $2,000. If you submit it, I really think you've got a shot. Brittany, why are you crying? Your parents are getting a divorce? Well, Brittany, I'm sorry to hear that, but you know what they say. People will come and go, but calculus, now that's forever. Now, eyes on the board, no more interruptions. I am so sorry I'm late today. My guinea pig's therapist canceled and he had a panic attack and I just had to hold him under his blanket until he calmed down. We'll have a substitute teacher tomorrow. He's an ex-Navy drill sergeant, has no teaching experience, and is no longer allowed in the country of Canada because of a disruption of the Starbucks. I did also leave the most difficult lesson for him. I'm sure it'll be fun. And there will be no class on Wednesday. I'm taking my goldfish to get Botox. He's very self-conscious of the scales on his forehead, so enjoy your day off. Excuse me, Alice, why are you crying? Braden broke up with you? Alice, you can't be bringing your drama in here. And just remember, boys may break your heart, but algebra will always be your palgebra. Katie, are you okay? You were pretty quiet in class today. Kyle broke up with you? I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh my god, you caught him on his Snapchat story with a bunch of other girls. Can I be honest? I had him last semester, not a big fan. You're really smart, Katie. You're going places. Ditch him. Now, class, I can hear you packing up. It is not time to go yet. We still have a few minutes of class left. And that's all I have for class today. We're ending about half an hour early here, but if no one has any questions, you're free to head out. Laura, why weren't you in class Friday? You had appendicitis? Laura, next time you need to take an Advil and get to class. I'm sure your appendix can wait a day to get removed. You have Shakespeare to read. Hey, Kyle! Oh, you don't have to explain why you weren't in class on Wednesday. You get like 4 free absences before the university requires a doctor's note or anything. Did you get the notes from somebody? What do you mean the Scarlet Letter's boring? Who cares if there's an 100-page prologue that doesn't relate to the rest of the tale? This is an American classic. What do you want to do? Study Lady Gaga's rise to fame? Where's the value in that? And today we're going to be talking about individualistic versus collective identity consumers using the lens of K-pop's popularization in the United States and the rise of stan culture as an example. I will make an exception this one time and accept your paper a day late because your house was destroyed by a tornado, but just know in college, this kind of unpreparedness will not fly. I'm so sorry I had to cancel class last week. This monkey I follow on social media passed away, and honestly, I just really couldn't get on with my day. Excuse me, Sam, your hyperventilating is really disturbing class. If you don't stop, I'm gonna have to write it on your permanent record. You don't believe a permanent record's a real thing? Well, there's a folder with your name on it, so that's pretty real. Hey, Sarah, you seem to be breathing really heavy. Is everything okay? Taking exams makes you really anxious. I totally get that. What do you need? A little extra time? Do you want to take it alone in my office? What can I do for you? I'm sorry, Sarah, but an 89.9 is an 89.9. There's nothing I could do. If everybody got an A, what would be the incentive to learn? The joy of knowledge? Hey, Leah, you wanted to talk about your grade? Let's see here. You got an 89.9. You've been working really hard all semester. Oh my god, my computer just glitched and you have an A now. How could that have happened? It's nice that you're competing in the Olympics next week, Thomas, but can they reschedule? We're learning how to graph a parabola next week. It's good that you have hobbies, but it's a really big lesson to make up. Hey Bryce, what's up? You're stressed about finishing your paper in time because you're going to a cougar convention this weekend? Like the animal? No? Well, that's fine. Just get it to me at the end of the semester.